Yo, what's good, meatheads? Hope you're having an amazing day, and welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your boy, the returning champ, IFBB Pro, Matt Battalion. Today, I'm going to be breaking down the 12 basics of burning stomach fat. All right, so if you've been struggling with burning stomach fat, if that's something that you've had an issue with, then this is your episode, man. All right, you might want to pull out a pad and a pen, or just get used to rewinding this episode if you're watching this on the replay. Shout out to you. Okay, so today we're going to be diving into it. We're going to be breaking down the 12 basics of burning stomach fat. All right, how to reduce the gut, how to reduce all that shit above your belt buckle. All right, so pay attention to it. All right, let's break it down. We're going to jump right on into it. We're not going to really talk too much. I'm going to talk about the 12 tips starting now. The first thing that you want to do if you want to, reduce your gut, shrink your stomach, burn the stomach fat or like fat around your area is, well, before we get to it, you have to understand that there is no one particular thing that you can do in order to reduce the size of the stomach. Okay, you're probably confused. You're like, what? And if you're confused, I'm going to repeat it for you. There's no one thing you can specifically do to reduce the size of your stomach. There's no one thing, right? Depending on where you are, depending on where you're starting, it's going to be several things that you're going to have to do in order to get to that point where your stomach starts to recede, starts to shrink, you start to burn the stomach fat, however you want to call it. Okay. And it's a combination of several things. No, doing ab workouts itself won't do anything for you. Ab workouts alone, I know it seems logical to think if I use the muscles in the stomach, then the stomach is going to burn fat. I get it. I know. And honestly, when I was a kid, I used to think the same thing too. And I'm not trying to be condescending, but I just get it. It makes sense. Like, it's a logical assumption that because you use your stomach muscles, you do your ab workouts and things like that, correlated stuff, your planks, that you're going to burn the stomach fat. But it's not that linear, and it's not that, it doesn't work that way. Just there's several things you have to do to get rid of your stomach fat. Okay? Like a lot of things. And we're going to break them down. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do in the 12 things that you're going to have to do in order to burn your stomach fat and to understand the basics of burning stomach fat is, number one, have a balanced diet. Okay, consume a balanced diet. That means lean proteins, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats. So of course I'm going to talk about healthy food. Yes, you can have a balanced diet and still eat too much. It's possible. All right. So I want you guys to understand that just because you're eating vegetables, just because you have a balanced diet, doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to, gain weight. Having a balanced diet, eating whole foods and whole lean proteins and, not eating junk food, you can still get fat by doing that if you are just eating too much. And what's too much? Well, too much is more than your body's required limit for your caloric intake. So if you're eating more calories than you need to maintain your weight, you're going to gain weight regardless of what you eat. You're going to gain weight. It's just what's going to happen. So whole foods are important to eat. Yes, they have lots of vitamins, they have lots of micronutrients, they have everything that you need. However, if you continue to eat whole foods but you're not measuring the portion of these whole foods, and you're overeating and you're getting more calories than you need, then no matter how many fucking vegetables you're eating, no matter how much, how many home cooked clean meals you're eating, you're going to get fat. You're going to gain weight because you aren't tapering off your calories. So that's one thing I want you to understand. All right. I know it's a little bit confusing for the beginners, but I have to bring it up because we are talking about the basics of burning stomach fat. You follow? That's number one, balanced diet. So pick foods that are good. All right. That's pretty easy for you, right? Pretty easy. Cool. All right. So number two, and this sort of bleeds into it, portion control. All right. What I was just talking about bleeds into number two, portion control. Be mindful of the portion sizes that you are going to be eating. Because as I said, regardless of what you eat, it's very easy to overeat if you aren't measuring. Okay. Regardless of what you eat, it's very easy to overeat if you aren't measuring, which leads to overeating. As I said, regardless of what you eat. All right. And the easiest way to honestly fuck up overeating, and the easiest way to overeat without even feeling like it, is eating reduced sugar and processed foods. And I know people are like, well, like, yeah, I know processed foods are, bad for you. But how, like, what are we talking about when we are talking about processed foods? And I want to just bring it up. Sorry, guys, not reduced sugar. If you're eating reduced sugar, it's likely a good thing, right? So that's a little mistake on my end. But if you're eating things that are high in sugar and that are processed foods, okay. So how do we know what processed foods are good or bad for us? Because technically everything is processed. Everything, like literally everything is processed. There's almost nothing that you can get that's like not processed unless it's organic. And organic, let's be honest, not a lot of people can afford organic. And even if you could afford organic, you know what I mean? It's like, to a degree, it's still processed. You know what I mean? So what I'm talking about when I say processed foods is foods that, for every serving of it, it comes in a separate package. Like think of Rice Krispies. Think of Oreos, think of candies, think of shit that you know is junk food already, and that realm of processed foods, those kinds of processed foods, the chips, okay? Processed foods in general are almost everything nowadays because everything's processed. There's preservatives and everything. There's fucking GMO in here, GMO in there. So technically, by definition, everything is processed. However, the processed foods you want to stay away from are the processed foods that have more ingredients than they don't. So, for example, rice is processed. It's processed all the way. How the fuck is it going to come from China all the way over here or wherever they get rice? Excuse me if that was fucking racist. I don't, excuse me. I'm just being honest. I don't know where rice comes from. That's my fault. But wherever it is, bananas, avocados, all these things, how the fuck are they going to come here and not have preservatives? You know what I mean? Like there's going to be something in them that is going to be processed that it's not good that we are going to eat anyway. But what I'm talking about is the ingredients in an avocado are an avocado. The ingredients in rice is rice. The ingredients in vegetables are vegetables. However, if we're talking about canned goods, if we're talking about like, you know, junk food, and not to say that canned foods are junk food, but let's just talk about junk food. What's in a Rice Krispie? I don't fucking know. Like marshmallows, this, that, maltodextrin, all these things, man. If you look at the back of it, there's a whole fucking bunch of shit in that, right? It's not one ingredient. So even though both things are quote unquote processed, the processed thing with one ingredient, aka what we know as the whole food, is something that we should lean towards. All right. So that's the type of processed food that we want to lean towards. Okay. So just to clarify, all right, we want to be mindful of our portion sizes and we also want to avoid overeating. All right. And we want to reduce our sugar intake through the form of processed foods. Okay. Again, that's reducing sugar intake through the form of processed foods. If we're reducing our sugar intake in general, yes, there have been studies that show like, oh yeah, you can like lose extra weight if you're reducing sugar. Dude, you're only losing weight because you're eating less calories. And if you're reducing your sugar, that's just another way of you reducing your carbohydrates. And if you reduce your carbohydrates, that is another way of getting into a calorie deficit. I'm going to repeat that. People say that you can, if you cut out sugar or if you reduce sugar, you're going to lose weight. Technically, yes, because sugar usually comes in the form of carbohydrates that are high glycemic. Like, think of it, cakes, donuts, any sweet, basically, right? And those things are high in calories. And if you're cutting out your sugar or even sugar itself, you're cutting out a lot of calories. Okay, it's not to say that sugar is bad for you. However, if you do cut out sugar, you're going to lose weight, not because sugar is bad, but because sugar had a fuck ton of calories, or at least the sugars that you were eating had a fuck ton of calories. You can still get sugars from fruits. Okay, you can get sugars from complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, things like that, and they're wholesome, they're healthy, they have good vitamins and all that stuff on the other end. They aren't just empty nutrients, and they are less calories. Okay, so you can still eat sugar and lose weight as opposed to cutting out sugar in order to lose weight, right? But it takes a complex mind to understand the difference of like what sugars I'm eating, what sugars I'm not supposed to be eating, or at least shouldn't be eating as much because they have too many calories and they're easy to overeat with, right? So you got to understand that. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so that's number 2. We were kind of on a rant there for number 2. But number 3, guys, 3 out of the 12 basics for burning stomach fat. Today, on this episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast, we're going to talk about minimizing the intake of sugary beverages, man. Okay, we're just talking about sugar and processed foods and all those refined sugars. It's not the fact that those things themselves, as I'm going to repeat it again, it's not the fact that sugar itself is going to make you fat. Like, it's not like because you have a spoon of sugar, you're going to gain a spoonful of fat. It doesn't work that way. It's always about the calories in and the calories out. However, when we talk about like drinking stuff, Okay, especially calories. If we're drinking calories, it's not necessarily good. Why? Because, first of all, it's very, 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 very easy to overindulge. It's very easy to overeat or overconsume things that we drink. Because think about it, like, you don't even have to chew it, and chewing sends a signal to your brain and to your stomach that, okay, I'm eating, this is good. And then you get to a point where you get full. It takes a lot longer to actually get full when you're drinking, if you are, again, not drinking everything all at once. Like if you're chugging it, of course you're gonna feel the bloat and all that stuff. But if you're just drinking periodically, and I'm not talking about alcohol, I'm talking about, like, let's say juice, for example, right? Like sugary beverages. Like, just think of a carton of juice. If you just like finish a quarter of it, then you chill out, do something, finish another quarter of it, you chill out, you do something, finish another quarter. At the end of the day, you may finish 1 to 2 boxes of juice, the big ones, the big cartons of juice. And if you chug it all at once, yes, you'd feel it, all that fluid, you feel bloated. But if you didn't chug it all at once and you just periodically took swigs, you wouldn't even notice how many extra calories you're putting into your system, because sugary beverages, again, are packed with calories, but they don't even make you feel full, which is why they can be dangerous and contribute to packing on the stomach fat that you want to burn so badly. Again, refined sugars that are on the junk food end of processed foods also count for these sugary beverages, right? So you want to stay away from these things. I'm not saying never have juice in your life. No, I'm not saying that, but definitely be aware, man. Definitely be aware of what you're drinking or what you're putting into your system, because if you're drinking constantly, drinking juice constantly, you're definitely throwing in some sneak calories without even knowing it. It's like you could be working your ass off, dieting so hard, like you've been following your nutrition protocol, what you're at least supposed to be eating in terms of whole food for so long. And then it gets to a point where, like, fuck, I'm not losing weight. And then you wonder, it's like, what's going on? And it's the fact that you're drinking a box of juice every 2 days. And that juice that you just so happen to be drinking, or these sodas, have so many extra calories that put you over your caloric requirement, which makes it almost impossible for you to either continuously make progress in your fitness journey or make progress at all. So you have to understand that these things they're kind of like the devils that we're not looking at. The juice, man. It's very easy to overconsume your weekly amount of calories with juice. So we gotta be mindful of literally everything that we put into our system. Honestly, if you want it from me, just drink fucking water. All right. And if it's really bad and you really just need something that tastes good and you just like aren't an adult and you can't drink water, then get those 0 calorie, unflavored fucking, you know what I mean? Or flavored, like the Mio, or what's the other one? I forgot the other one, but you know what I'm talking about. You can squirt them in your water and it makes it taste good, but has 0 calories. I know people are like, you don't want that stuff. It, again, falls on the side of processed goods, sure, but it's got 0 calories. And if it's got 0 calories, then what the fuck really is there to bitch and moan about? You're the one that can't drink the water anyway, right? Somebody on the live stream here said Zoa's pretty good. Yeah, you can drink that. Whatever it is that you can find in the market that, has got 0 calories and that can make it better for you to drink your own water and have you get to hit two birds with one stone. You get to have that nice taste, whatever you want, and make you trick yourself into drinking that sugary drink. Then it works because you're getting that 0 calories and you're satisfying that urge, that sweet tooth. So it's fine. It works. Okay. I ain't got nothing on that. There's no problem with that, really, in my opinion. All right. So number 4, guys, this one you're not gonna like, especially because you should be doing it if you want to be burning your stomach fat. Okay. You could probably take a wild guess. You sit there, I'll give you 3 seconds. It's a type of exercise. That's the only hint I'll give you. 2 seconds, 1, 0. Cardiovascular exercise, guys. Cardio is like one of the main things that will help you not just reduce fat in your stomach, but reduce fat in your entire body. And newsflash, you can't actually lose fat in one specific area. If I haven't already talked to you about that in this episode, it's because I talked about it in literally 220 other episodes on the Meathead of the Mic podcast. There's no such thing as you doing, you know, back rows and burning back fat, or doing squats to burn leg fat, or doing abs to burn stomach fat. There's no such thing as that. Our body burns fat from head to toe all together at once in synchronicity. It's just the way it goes. All right. It's just the way it goes. Don't hate me. It's just, I'm just the messenger. That's just how it is. Okay. And once you understand that, then you'll understand that it's important not just to train your abs, but how important it is to train your entire body, because when you train your entire body, you build the total amount of muscle mass in your body. And you're thinking like, dude, I just want to burn my stomach fat. Like, you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about building muscles. Like, I don't care about looking like a bodybuilder. I don't want to build muscle. Like, I just want to burn my stomach fat. Well, then newsflash, okay? Pay attention. Building muscle from head to toe is literally one of the only things that you should be focusing on if you are serious about burning that stomach fat. And the reason why is because the more muscle that you do have on your body, the more calories you burn just by fucking existing. Okay, this means when you go to bed, when you wake up, when you take a shit, when you walk around, when you are on your phone, whatever it is, you're at work, and your body's just functioning, you'll burn more calories with more muscle on your body than if you had less muscle on your body. Okay, you could do the exact same workout with more muscle on your body and burn more calories than if you did the exact same workout with less muscle on your body. Why is this? Well, because muscle is more calorically expensive than fat, meaning the more muscle you have, the higher or the closer to an anabolic state you're in. And the closer to an anabolic state you're in, the more muscle you have. And the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn. And why does this happen? Well, again, muscle, if you've ever heard of BMIs and BMRs, your body mass index or your basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate just means metabolism, and your BMI is just what determines your obesity. If you understand what your BMR is basically the amount of calories you can burn while you're at a rested state, while you're doing just whatever it is at work. Rested just means you're not in the gym, okay? And it increases dramatically with the amount of muscle that you do put on your physique. So the more muscle you put on, the higher your BMR number goes, your metabolism speed. You increase your metabolism speed if you put on more muscle. So I understand you don't want to burn fat in your stomach, or you don't want to, look like a bodybuilder. You don't want to put on all this muscle. All right. You don't want to look like a bodybuilder. You don't want to put on all this muscle, but it's literally the only thing that's going to help you burn off the fat. Not only that, but keep it off while eating more calories down the line. So you don't have to starve yourself consistently just to burn fat. Okay. So cardio, guys. Cardio is one of the main ways that helps, because with cardio, what are we doing with cardio? We're increasing our heart rate and we're burning more calories. So that's awesome. But when we're burning the calories, we're also using fat. Fat is an energy storage. And if we're increasing our heart rate, okay, and we are burning more fat, what are we doing? I'm going to repeat that. If we are doing cardio, all right, and we are increasing our heart rate and we are using fat as an energy source to burn this fat to help us increase our heart rate, what are we also doing? We are reducing the amount of fat that we have on our body over a period of time. And if we're reducing the amount of fat that we have in our body and we're eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day, we are at least maintaining the muscle and keeping the fat coming down, which means even without building muscle or trying to build muscle, we're reducing the fat, and that's getting us to a more anabolic state because our entire body mass index is comprised of those things. Or at least we're going to focus on the body mass of the fat and the body mass of the muscle. Right? So if the muscle mass stays the same and the fat is going down, that means you're getting closer to an anabolic state, which means more of your body is going to have more muscle, and that's going to speed up your metabolism. Okay. In other words, you're going to be dropping your body fat percentage, right? And because you're dropping your body fat percentage and you're maintaining or building muscle in the process, your metabolism will speed up. So cardio is really fucking important for that. And it's not to say that just doing cardio alone is going to do that. No, doing cardio and, doing regular weight training, that's the trifecta here. Eating properly, doing cardio, and weight training. Like those three things will give you those things, the benefits and the advantages that I just talked about. Okay. And it doesn't have to be like, running all the time or cycling on the bike all the time or swimming all the time. It could be anything, any version of cardio that you like, as long as you're doing it consistently and you're training with weights as well as eating properly. Okay. And not only will it burn the stomach fat, but it'll burn the fat all over your body. So newsflash, if that's something you actually care about, then pay attention. Then actually just do it. Okay. Strength training and cardiovascular training are the two most important forms of energy or calorie expenditure that you can focus on when it comes to developing your physique. You want to incorporate resistance training to build muscle to boost your metabolism and to also help you define your core muscles. All right, those abs that you want to, you can still do your crunches, you can still do your plank and all that stuff, right? I'm not telling you don't do it just because doing it itself isn't gonna, burn the stomach fat for you. Definitely still do it, but don't do it only with the outcome in your mind of like, oh well, I'm only gonna do this because it's gonna get rid of my abs. And if it doesn't get rid of my abs, then I'm not gonna do it. Definitely, I would recommend doing it, especially if if you don't have a strong core in general. It's just gonna help you in life. It's gonna help you when you're sitting down. It's gonna help you when you're walking around, moving things. If you got kids, playing with your kids, it's gonna help you a lot. If you got a partner, then you know how it's going to help you. Core strength actually matters. Okay. All right. So I don't really have to dive too deep into that rabbit hole or other hole, whatever, pun intended. You get my drift. All right. So, guys, cardiovascular exercise, doing cardio, at least, bare minimum, absolute bare fucking minimum, 10 minutes a day. And I'm talking 7 days a week. You're like, what the fuck? 7 days a week, bro. It's just 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be on a treadmill. It doesn't have to be, you're riding a bike. It could be any version of, you could literally walk for 10 minutes every single day, 7 days a week. You already walk 10 minutes a day, every single fucking day of the week, right? So make this one intentional, or at least you're doing a little speed walk, or you're monitoring it to make sure that it's always happening 7 days a week. Okay, it's that simple, and it's also that difficult if you want it to be. Okay, and as far as strength training goes, it varies, man. It varies. But for most of you guys that have this stomach fat that really just want to get rid of it, it's going to take no more than 2 to 3 days for you. Anything more than that, honestly, is, I wouldn't say excessive, but you could be biting off a lot more than you can chew by accident, which isn't something that you want to do. Okay, but 2 to 3 days of weight training, resistance training, and about, honestly, 5 to 7 days of just walking 10 minutes a day or getting 10,000 steps, whatever you want to do. It can, again, you can build it up. You don't have to keep it at 10 minutes all the time. I would definitely recommend increasing the difficulty of whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's weight training, whether it's cardio, over time, but doing it consistently. All right. That's number 4 here, guys. Number 5, this one sort of does tie into number 4 a little bit here. And this is for the people that are used to doing the slow-paced cardio, the low-intensity, steady-state cardio, but are looking for something a little bit more intense, either to speed up the process, okay? And this is HIIT. You guys can do HIIT workouts. It's sort of more convenient if you only want to put in, 10 minutes a day. It's really convenient, actually. I personally am a pro bodybuilder, and I do not do this because I just would rather have a low-intensity, steady-state cardio. I'll do my 30 minutes, 7 days a week. I'll walk on an incline, maybe between 2 and 3 miles per hour on the treadmill, but I'll do it 7 days a week, no matter what, right? So that's what I do. I've got a treadmill at home, so that's what I do. But you guys can do HIIT workouts if you don't like the other form of cardio. Again, this is a little bit more intense. It stands for, HIIT is an acronym for high intensity interval training. So you're just going to be doing short bursts of really, really fast stuff, right? If you like burpees, you're doing burpees. If you're, doing whatever it is, just sprints, any kind of interval workout that you are doing 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off, or 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, whatever interval. If you're sprinting or whatever it is, you're doing it really, really high intensity, and you're doing it really, really fast. And it's a form of cardio that you can do, but you can also integrate it into ab workouts or just body weight workouts, right? This is convenient also if you don't go to the gym very often and you want something to do at home for cardio, but you don't want to walk. All right, this is something that you'll find is very, very impactful. You'll work up quite a sweat. Me personally, I haven't done HIIT since high school because I just don't like it, and I just don't like it, so I don't do it. But I can still get shredded because I do cardio consistently and I train like an animal when I do go to the gym with the weights. And of course, I eat sharp. Not all the time, but I eat clean 80% of the time if we're being vulnerable here. Okay, so number 6, guys, incorporate strength exercises or core strength inducing exercises like planks, crunches, and leg raises to tone up and define the abdominal muscles. Again, as I said, doing this alone won't burn the stomach fat that you have hanging over your belt buckle. It just won't do it. It won't do it. It's just not what it's supposed to do, right? But it will strengthen up your core. We already know about that. Okay, strengthening up your core is it's important for everything else in general, not just in the gym, but to function properly, right? If you don't want to hunchback when you're older, if you don't want lower back pain when you're older, then you want to strengthen up your core. Trust me. Think of your core as like the core of an apple. It doesn't have like just one side. The core of an apple is just that whole cylinder. When you core an apple, it's a cylinder, and that's what I want you to think about when you think of your core. All right, it's not just your abs, but it's your lower back. Okay, which means you should, just as well as you work on your abs, you should be working on your lower back to make sure that your thoracic, like the core of your body, is sturdy and that it can support the weight at the top of your body, and that it can manage the weight at the lower end of the body. All right, and keep you with a good posture, and it can keep your spine aligned. That's what I like to think about when I think of core. I don't think of just six packs and obliques. I think of the front side of my body and the back side of my body, the sides of my body, that whole cylinder, and how it upholds my spine. That's what I want you guys to think about when it comes to core strength. Okay, we have somebody here on the live stream saying core strength saved my back. Absolutely, totally, as it should, right? If you're doing this correctly, it will. All right, so guys, that's another thing I want you to understand. Number 6 there. Now, number 7, this one, I know a lot of men are guilty for this, especially if you've got children at home, you got a wife, and you got a roof to put over their head, food to put on the table for them. Sleep, man. Get your fucking rest, dude. 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I know some of you guys are crunching it on 4 to 6 hours, and here's why honestly, if you want to have a receding hairline and be tired all the time, then do that. Don't listen to this. But if you want to actually have energy and hang on to whatever youth that you could possibly hang on to, you're going to want to focus on having at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. Okay, this is going to help you regulate your hormones and reduce stress, which can contribute to burning stomach fat. Again, guys, when we're asleep, we secrete hormones. All right, this is where our body does the healing. This is where our body, repairs all the muscle fibers. One of the most important hormones that we secrete when we're asleep is GH. For those of you guys that are in the bodybuilding community, you know what this is. But for those of you guys that aren't in the bodybuilding community, you don't know what it is. GH, guys and girls, is an acronym for growth hormone. And growth hormone is something that we can take synthesized. You can definitely do that if you want, but I personally wouldn't recommend it because I'm a natural athlete and I don't take any of that shit. So I would never recommend for any of you guys to take that shit. But we all naturally produce it. And it's what puts us through puberty. It's what gives us the growth spurt. It's what makes our bones denser, our muscles bigger, all that stuff, shoulders wider. It's what changes our bodies, the growth hormone. And growth hormone, of course, decreases in terms of secretion as we age, just as the other production of other hormones for men, specifically testosterone, decreases as we age. Okay, so when we sleep, this is when we can take advantage of this stuff, to have these skin tightening, youth binding features to the best of our abilities. Even though it does decline as we grow, this is when it happens. So you don't want to be sheeping out on sleep. You don't want to be cutting corners with sleep, because this is where your body does everything that it's going to do to make sure that you live longer, healthier, and actually become happier, because your body is secreting the hormones that it needs to, doing all the repairs that it needs to do, giving your brain the rest that it needs, so that you can actually go into the next day and not be mentally fogged, not be mentally clouded. Like, these things are really, really, really fucking important. And you just have to pay attention to it. If you're not getting your sleep, you're fucked. I know a lot of you guys are like, well, dude, I can, thug it out on like 5 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours sleep. Cool. Keep doing that. You're not going to be able to grow as much muscle as you grow older. Your shit's going to hurt more. Your joint's going to hurt more. All right. Your hairline's going to recede quicker. Your skin is going to start to peel. Not actually peel, but like, you'll notice it. Bags under your eyes. You got what do they call it? Raccoon eyes and shit. Like, focus on your rest. I know it's so annoying to hear about. It's so tedious. It's like your mom coming up to you and telling you it's fucking bedtime, go to bed. But it's really fucking important, yo. Like, if you are serious about burning stomach fat, if you're serious about living a longer life, you're going to want to sleep at least 7 to 9 hours every single day. Like, period. Like, I don't make the rules, all right? So number 8, when it comes to the basics of burning your stomach fat, guys, is managing your stress levels. Okay, high stress levels can lead to weight gain around your midsection. Not even in your midsection, just pretty much all over the place. But depending on where you pack on fat the easiest in your body, it could be your midsection. For some women, it could be their hips and their glutes. Or depending, it's just honestly genetics. It could be the back of your arms. It could be your face. It could be anything. Okay, so high stress levels definitely do lead to weight gain. around the midsection. And this is just because you are secreting more stress hormones, which honestly, yes, if you do secrete stress hormones like cortisol, it has an adverse effect on your body and can make you retain more water. It can make it a little bit more difficult for your body to metabolize fat, but again, it's still a game of calories. Regardless, it's not just the hormones itself, because you notice that when people are in high stress levels, they tend to cope with these high stresses by fucking overeating. I'm not judging you for it. All right. I'm not judging you for it, but you definitely need to find other ways of coping with your stress. And you personally, I would recommend talking to other people, not just like like therapists and stuff like that. Like, don't just like hire a therapist because I'm talking to you about getting that type of help. But you should definitely talk to like people that you actually trust. You know what I mean? Like people that you respect that can actually give you that insight in your life to make you see things a little bit more clearly, and in a way help you mitigate or reduce stress. Because guys, stress will cause you to do some fucked up shit. Most addictions are born in stress. Okay. Most addictions are born in stress. High stress levels can lead to weight gain around your midsection, because when you're stressed out, you end up eating like a fucking pig. You end up drinking like Homer Simpson. You end up just doing a whole bunch of shit because you gotta cope with the stress. All right. So practice stress reduction techniques such as meditation, yoga, or deep breathing. And guys, I'm not the one to tell you that, I'm not the one to sit here and go like, in the motherfucking, you know what I mean? I'm not the one, but me personally, I'll tell you this. When I talk to certain people, I got certain people in my close friends group, that, when I talk to them about certain problems, I genuinely feel relieved when I talk to them. And that relief, when I exhale, I'm like, oh, fuck, I got off my chest. Because I be keeping shit in, yo. Like most men, I just keep it inside, right? But when I talk to my peers that I actually fucking respect, like I've got friends, everyone's got the acquaintances, sure, like whatever. The people that you say hi and bye to, but like the people that I actually fucking I'm close to and I respect, when I talk to them about real problems, it comes off my chest. And I'm like, okay, cool. Less stress. Still a little stressed, but less stress. I go to the gym, less stress. I eat clean. I look in the mirror. I'm like, fuck, this is me. This is who I am. Less stress. Like I'm a human being too. I've had shit happen to me. I know what it feels like when shit is just too much. Like I've been there. Not perfect, guys, but high stress levels will fuck you. They'll cause you to do things that you don't want to do, but you feel like you need to do in order to manage the stress. I personally like to talk to people that I trust and respect, and I'm just going to be vulnerable here. If you guys are watching this on the recording, you can see this on the recording, but if you hear the pages flipping on the the audio, but I got journals. All right, I journal stuff. All right, I try my best to journal every single day. I don't do it every day, but it's what I do. It's another thing that helps me manage stress, when I can look at stuff, write it out, read it out to myself in the mirror. Right, I'm not saying chant affirmations to yourself, but like whatever is bothering you, put that shit down on fucking paper and read it back to yourself to understand where you are and to feel the fucking moment. Also, what I like to do is I do the sauna daily, less for aesthetic purposes and more for mental purposes. Like I do sit there, listen to like some binaural beats, some quiet noise, white noise stuff, and literally try my best to not think about shit. And it's so hard to do. It's very hard to do, actually. I can't even do it. I'm still like working on it, right? But I wouldn't say that I can't do it, because that's not true. I have done it a couple times and it works best when I'm prepping for shows. But quieting the mind, I go into the sauna, put my noise canceling earbuds in, listen to this white noise or binaural beats, and literally just breathe. Even though it's so hot, my lungs like, oh my God, I'm burning, I'm sweating. I'm calm. Bring my heart rate down. You know what I mean? Think of things that I want to see in my future, or nothing at all. Or maybe sometimes ruminate on some things that I've been ignoring. I just take the time. It's 10 minutes a day, 6 to 7 days a week. Because I train 6 to 7 days a week. I'll do it after my workout, after my cardio in the morning, all that stuff. And I will try my best to meditate. That's my form of meditation, right? And then, I would deep breathe in there, practice deep breathing in the shower. Once I finish scrubbing myself up and I rinse off the soap, I blast that shit on cold water and I just deep breathe. I don't even flinch. I just take the cold water, deep breathe, right? These are things that I do every single day, or at least 6 to 7 days a week. On my worst weeks, 5 days a week. I'll be honest with you, because I ain't perfect, but I try my fucking best to quiet down the mind and to manage the stress levels, because guys, stress is going to cause you to do some shit that you don't want to do. Okay, so if you want to manage your stress, if you want to, understand one of the key basics to reducing the fucking fat that got there in the first place, you got to stop eating every time you're stressed. You got to stop, putting down the donuts and the bread and the rice or whatever it is that you do, the Uber Eats, the skip the dishes every single time you get stressed. You got to stop fucking doing that. You got to stop with the alcohol, the beer, the whatever it is every single time you get stressed, and incorporate other stress reduction techniques like talking to people that you respect as mentors or as people that you want to be like, or just close people that are trustworthy. You want to do whatever form of meditation that you can do, whether it's whatever I did in the sauna. You don't have to do what I did, but it works for me. 10 minutes a day, noise canceling earbuds with white noise and just breathing. Okay. Cold showers in the morning, right? After your cardio, right? Journaling and reading it and writing it to yourself, right? Based on the problems you have with yourself that day. Like, those are 4 things right there you can steal from me that I personally do. Like, as I said, I'm not the one to tell you to, get all spiritual and fucking holding your crystals and doing all this crazy cognitive dissonance shit. Like, I'm not going to tell you to do that. That's just hippy dippy and just doesn't make sense. Like, but what I will tell you is what makes sense for me. And what makes sense for me is reducing my stress in that way. All right, so I wanted to just share that with. That's actually a vulnerable share because I don't tell people about that one. Only the people in my close community know about that, and that's just simply because I don't talk about it often. But here, guys, that's something for you if you've been dealing with high stress. And of course, going to the gym is going to reduce your stress, and we already fucking know that. Because when you go to the gym, you secrete these brain chemicals that make you feel good, like serotonin, like dopamine. You get the reward and all that. It's amazing, sure. But there are other things outside of the gym that you should be doing if you really, really want to manage your stress levels. Because it's not like we could stay in the gym pumping iron all day. If we could, we would. At least I would. I know for a fact. All right. They used to call me the unexterminatable gym rat. And I would, honestly. If our bodies didn't give up, and if it was safe to do, I would literally stay in the gym and just keep doing reps and eating in between every set and just never leave the gym. But it's not the way shit works. We need rest, and you gotta not have cognitive dissonance. You can't just go to the gym, put the weights up, put them down, and then fuck off. Like, you actually have to work on what's inside here. All right, I'm gonna repeat that because I gotta record this on a reel here. We cannot just live in a state of cognitive dissonance. Like, the gym is a great stress reliever, but you have to also work on what's in here. So once you leave the gym, or once you're no longer pumping weights, because we can't do that 25/8, let's be honest, you have to actually put an active effort into, honestly fixing what's in your brain, fixing what's in your heart. And the only way we can do that is, again, through managing stress through different mediums. Okay, meditation, yoga, deep breathing, cold showers, whatever the fuck it is for you, do it. Okay, figure out your own routine and just marry it. All right. Also, guys, another key thing, which is actually kind of a hack. I've told this to many of my clients in the past. I do this myself, especially when I'm in prep, that will help you reduce fat around your body. And again, for you listening to this, burn the fat on your stomach, is by drinking water. Like, literally drinking water. What are we talking about? I know we talked about, putting in those flavor things in your water earlier on if you can't stand the taste of nothing, which is water. Or, I was going to make an inappropriate joke about Flint, Michigan, but we're not going to do that here. But honestly, shout out to those guys. Hope they get clean water. But guys, drinking enough water is going to help you control your appetite and overall bodily functions. That's a basic. That's literally basic. Okay. Drinking enough water helps control our appetite and overall bodily functions, which means the more water we drink, or at least the more consistent we are with drinking the right amount of water that we need for our bodies, roughly 2 to 4 liters, depending on how active you are. If you're extremely, extremely active and you sweat like a pig, doing cardio, you do sauna, and you sweat while you're training, probably going to need more than 4 liters of water. And you're also going to need to replenish the amount of salt that you do intake, because you're going to be sweating out all of your electrolytes, if not most of them. So if you're like hyperactive and you consider yourself like a national competitor or whatever it is, and you really train hard and you're jacked, you're gonna need a lot of salt. You're gonna need a lot of water. That's just true. But if you want to reduce the amount of fat that you have in your stomach or just in your body altogether, drinking enough water is going to help you curb your appetite. Meaning, after you eat a meal, maybe hang out for like 20, 30 minutes, drink a liter of water. Okay, you're like, a liter? Yo, that's a lot, bro. A liter isn't a lot of water. It's not. It's 2 water bottles. Have 2 water bottles after your meal. I promise you, you're going to feel full as fuck. You're not going to want to eat your next meal as fast as you wanted to before, right? And if you maintain that habit of drinking water in between your meals, trust me, you're not going to have enough space in your stomach to eat as much as you wanted to. And if you're also eating whole foods and you're drinking water in between, trust me, whole foods are very dense. Okay. Drinking water with whole foods is going to be super dense. You might even feel too full, which again is going to be a benefit for you if you're in a calorie deficit and you're steering away from eating foods that again normally would be refined sugars or just kind of easy to put down without having a lot of calories. All right, so you want to be able to leverage that and take advantage of that by drinking enough water. Okay, again, guys, if you are hyperactive athletes, you're not. This episode doesn't even pertain to you, right? Because you don't need to burn the stomach fat because you just don't have any already. So I'm not talking to you. But if you are somebody that wants to burn the stomach fat, all right, you want to keep yourself in a calorie deficit. You want to burn fat all over your body, build muscle, get closer to your dream body. Then definitely drinking water in between your meals is a hack that you should be doing that you aren't doing. Okay, it's going to curb your appetite and it's going to sort of keep you at bay so you don't end up overeating or so that you don't end up feeling too hungry and then starving in this whole calorie deficit. Okay, like that's one thing I want to tell you. All right, another thing, tip number 10 when it comes to the basics, the 12 basics of burning stomach fat, guys, is you want to include fiber in your diet. Okay, you want to incorporate whole grains, legumes, like beans and stuff, fruits and all them things to help you reduce, or not reduce, but to regulate your digestion and reduce bloating. So in conjunction with drinking water, like drinking water is going to help with your bowel movements. If you're typically constipated, you want to be drinking water regularly so that your bowel movements can flow. And you want to actually drink water from literally at the start of your day so that you can have your bowel movements start at the tip of your day and everything moves down properly. But also fiber is going to help you if you struggle with constipation. If you have a gut, believe it or not, this is actually you might be grossed out, but let me just tell you, as a professional, I've experienced this with my clients. I've seen this happen countless times where when people would like hop on a diet, usually people that are overweight that have a gut, when they'd hop on a diet, they could lose up to like 7 pounds in their first week, 5 to 7 pounds on average. Honestly, it's 3 to 7 pounds on average within their first week. And if it's anything like that or even more, like more than 10 pounds, I want you to understand, if you lose more than 10 pounds in your first week of dieting, that's not all fat. Okay. And it's going to get disgusting now because I got to be honest with you, but it's true. And you'll only notice this once you increase your fiber and you're getting an adequate amount of fiber and you're also drinking enough water, which is you will be that 10 pounds is most of it is actually stool. It's shit that's been in your intestines and your gut that you haven't digested and excreted properly because you haven't had the amount of fiber that you needed. Your hormones have been out of whack because of the foods that you've been eating and the lack of physical activity and all those other reasons, stress, so on and so forth. And you haven't been drinking enough water. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're getting a reasonable amount of fiber. Again, it's going to vary for everybody's specific body. And you want to get enough water in. As I said, for most people listening to this, 2 to 3 liters of water is probably a threshold for the people that want to get rid of their stomach fat and actually begin adopting the habits of a healthy lifestyle. All right, so make sure you're doing that. Enough water, enough fiber, and whole grains, legumes, and fruits and stuff. Fruits are definitely amazing for it because they're sweet. They're really good. Fruits are the easiest thing to eat. Okay, but we also still have to be mindful of the calories. Okay, mindful of the calories. Be mindful of them. Just because they're fruits, just because they're vegetables, just because they're healthy, doesn't necessarily mean you can eat a boatload of it and you won't gain weight. You will gain weight. Doesn't matter if you're eating healthy food or not. Okay, if you will gain weight if you are eating more calories than your body needs. Point blank. Period. All right. So number 11 here. This is more of a mindset tip. All right, 11, we're almost at the end here. I know it's been quite a long episode for you. I haven't done an episode this long, and God knows how long. We're almost at 45 minutes here. But guys, you need to understand, this is the mindset one that I know everybody listening to this struggles with. I've helped clients with this, but it's the mindset around the consistency and patience of it all. It gets so fucking annoying, guys. It gets so annoying. I know what you mean, man. Like, I get it, man. Like, you've been in the game for so long. You've been grinding. You've seen the progress. You've tried so hard. You're seeing 1 pound come off, right? Like you're seeing 2 pounds come off this week. You're seeing 3 pounds come off. It's you see the progress every week. And some weeks you don't have progress, but every month you lose something. And you're like, fuck, man, I've been consistent, I've been patient, but when is this all gonna go? When is the stomach gonna leave? When are the man boobs gonna go away? Like, when am I gonna actually just fucking be there? I get it, yo. I get it. You need to understand that in order to control your body to get it to where you want it to go and to see that result, it's going to take time. Everything, anything in this life that is worth having takes time. For you listening to this, it was burning fat. And for me, it was building muscle. It took me time, years of failure, years of struggle, years of grinding in the gym and in the kitchen to build up my muscle to become a natural IFBB pro at 23 years old. And for you, it's going to take just as much, if not more effort, just as much, if not more time. You're going to have to grind. And not only grind, but you have to grind consistently. And not only grinding consistently, but you're going to have to grind hard consistently. And not only that, but you have to be patient in the process. So it kind of feels like you're asking for a lot here just to have a fucking result. I know, right? But guys, and you know this with anything. If you've seen anyone great in anything, whether it's a musician that got turned down by millions of record labels, dealt with adversity, whether it's somebody that's really wealthy that struggled and was born poor or dropped out of school, whatever it was, they had their adversity and nothing stopped them from getting to their goal because they were willing to do the hard work, not only just do it hard, but do the hard work consistently. And not only do the hard work consistently, but do that for a fucking ungodly amount of time, literally with no expectations. Yeah, you want to get the goal, but they were going to do it anyway because they weren't getting the results then until the results started to come. And then they continued working. It's the same thing with your fat loss goals, your fat loss journey. It's what you need to embody if you truly want to experience success in your fat loss journey. You have to stay patient. You have to be consistent in your efforts, like really try as hard as you fucking can and do that for as long as you possibly can do it, right? While also staying patient and understanding that one day it might come. Of course, it's going to happen if you're doing all the right things. If you're doing the wrong things, that's the definition of insanity. But again, that's why coaches exist. That's why the internet offers you free information on how to actually change your body. Okay? You can fix the things that you're doing and then make a real effort towards, applying them and monitoring the results. If you're getting the results, awesome. Just be patient and work harder. If you're not, go back to the drawing board, change what you're doing, and then continue to work and then work harder and then add time to that and you'll get there. So number 11, it's a very sensitive one because it's a mindset related one. Everybody fucking quits when they stop getting results, or at least when results slow down. Everyone fucking quits when it feels like it's not going to work out. But that's why everyone isn't successful. Point blank, period. Like, most shit in this life is actually easy. It's very easy. Like, you actually know what you need to do in order to burn fat. Like, you know that you need to eat less. You know that you need to go to the gym. But why don't people eat less and go to the gym? Because they don't really actually believe it's going to work. Like, they know it's going to work, but they're like, I've been fucking doing it, but like, it's just not happening for me. Like, I've been doing it, but whatever. Like, I don't feel like it because it's just not happening fast enough. That's where you need to actually take a step back, look at everything you've been doing. If you've made progress, be grateful for it. And if you haven't, it's your time to go and learn, or to fucking look out and hire somebody to help you learn about how to change what you're doing in order to get the results that you want. And then you add time to that. You compound that over time. We'll be laughing at the old you very, very shortly, or in a while. Regardless, progress is going to be inevitable if you apply that. Make sense? All right. So the 12th and the final, the final tip when it comes to the basics of burning your stomach fat, guys, I think I hinted at this one a little bit earlier on, but it's alcohol. You want to make sure that you're in control of the alcohol that you're consuming. Alcohol intake can contribute to abdominal fat. We know this already. All right. Reducing alcohol consumption can help in fat loss. Why? Well, again, if we understand it, drinking your calories, so I did hint at it earlier on, drinking your calories is an easy way to fuck up your progress because, well, first of all, you're drinking it, so you don't even really feel full unless you're chugging the whole thing at once, which, of course, you're going to feel full because It's just, you're going to fill up your stomach with fluid. It's going to be heavy. You might even want to puke. And I don't think anybody does that. But if you drink a beer, there's a reason why we have beer bellies. All right? There's a reason why. It's called a beer belly. Because you're filling yourself up with all those empty calories and all the hops and the barley and all that stuff. It's got estrogen in it, dude. Be careful. Estrogen is the female hormone. You don't want a lot of that if you're a guy. I mean, we naturally do produce it as well, but on a very, 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 very small scale compared to women, right? Because we don't need it as much as they do. But when you drink a lot of beer, you increase the amount of estrogen that you have in your body. I'm going to repeat that again. When you drink a lot of beer, you increase the amount of estrogen that you have in your body, which makes you look fucking pregnant. That's why we have beer bellies. And man boobs usually come with beer bellies because, again, you're pregnant. I'm just joking. But outside of that, it's a lot of empty calories you're getting. So you're going to be packing on a lot of fat and you're putting the wrong fucking hormones in your body. It's like taking the opposite of a testosterone shot when you're drinking beer, right? And doing that over a period of time is only going to negatively affect the amount of stomach fat that you have. And on top of that, carbonated fluids, carbonated drinks and beverages, it's not that it's going to make your stomach fat. It's going to protrude it. You know what I mean? And this happens to even me, right? If you eat or if you drink water, it's still going to protrude. Your stomach is going to, push out a little bit because there's stuff in there. But if you have stuff with like gas, like beer or like sodas, it's going to protrude even more. Not to say that you have fat on your stomach, but it definitely doesn't help the aesthetic. All right. So managing your alcohol intake is something that you really want to pay attention to as a guy, especially if you're serious about burning fat in your stomach area. All right, guys, if you're struggling with belly fat and weight loss, consider talking to someone that actually knows what the fuck they're doing, someone that knows how to get rid of their own belly fat or belly fat for other people, or go on Google, go on YouTube. The information is free. If you want someone to help you out, if you need an IFBB pro in your corner, you got me. You're listening to me right now. You've been here for literally almost an hour listening to me give you free tips on how to do the exact same thing you want to do. But for some people, it's awesome. Cool. I love the information. You're still not going to fucking do anything because you need someone to push you. And if that's you, I'm not blaming you. I understand it. All right. Which is why I'm offering up my hand. If you need help, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or drop a comment on YouTube, wherever you're watching this. And I'll see if you'll be a good fit. That's it. That's all. If you like this episode, share it out with a friend. I hope I was able to deliver a valuable experience to you guys and girls today. Let's embrace our inner meathead together. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. IFBB Pro, Matt Butale, signing out. Boom. All right, guys. Podcast episode recorded. Yo, Atif, what's good, bro? He says, any tips for people that are pre-diabetic? It's honestly, I would recommend that you look at your blood work specifically and figure out what you need. Because even if you're pre-diabetic, it doesn't mean that you have like the exact same prerequisites, or not prerequisites, but the exact same starting point as everybody else that is a pre-diabetic. And if you are pre-diabetic, what are you doing to manage your sugar levels at this point? I would recommend embodying or like to apply managing your sugar levels at this point. All right. Getting at least quarterly blood work or check-ins with your doctor to make sure that what you're doing is actually working, and then enforcing the calorie deficit. All right. Pre-diabetic is a better place to be than to be diabetic. I'll say that much. Right. And there's definitely a lot of things you can do to help yourself and reverse the effects of being pre-diabetic than you would if you were actually diabetic. So you're in a good spot. You're in a better spot, I would say, that than most people that are diabetic. So get your head out of the mud if that's something that you've been worried about. But yes, manage your sugar levels. I would recommend increasing my complex carbs. Again, I would like to see where you're at specifically, but increase my complex carbs. Manage my high glycemic carbs. I wouldn't completely cut them out depending on what you need and where you're at. But I would definitely keep them on the low end of consumption and, make sure I'm eating a lot more complex carbs. Right. And of course, managing your caloric intake. But that's just general information. I don't know what your specific situation is, or at least I haven't for a while. So definitely reach out to me if that's something that you're worried about and you want to fix it. We can definitely talk about it. All right, guys. That's it. That's all. It's been quite a lengthy episode today. Hope you guys and girls enjoyed it. TikTok, I'm going to look at some of the comments here because I know some of you guys were supporting and actually being legit today and not being like Weird. Normally we stop doing this, but I'm just gonna scan through this really quickly because I give a shit and like I'm just glad about you guys supporting. Let's see here. Draco says I'm 6'3", 158. How do I gain weight fast, gang? First of all, don't look at the fast part because if you want to gain weight fast, you're gonna get fat. That's just what it is. Right? Any fast weight gain is going to cause you to get fat because to gain weight quickly, you have to go into an aggressive calorie surplus. And if you're going to an aggressive calorie surplus, most of the weight that you're going to gain is fat. So you don't want that. All right. Slow and steady wins the race. Taylor says, hey, bud, how's it going? We chilling, man. He also made a really good suggestion about Zoa, which is, I think it's a type of 0-calorie energy drink. So shout out to you for that. Let's see what else we got here. I'm just scanning quick. Grandpa turned 66. Happy birthday to your grandpa. Let's see here. Sometimes you have work, you can't sleep so much. Definitely. Yeah, and if you have so much work that you can't sleep, I'd recommend going to bed earlier, and it's possible. You can go to bed earlier. Turn off your phone, turn off your laptop, turn off your TV, whatever it is that's keeping you up, go to bed earlier. I know it's like a more of like a grandpa lifestyle, but definitely go to bed earlier. Homie says, what's the best abs exercise, bro? It honestly depends for you. Like if you have lower back issues, you have lower back pain, doing leg races is going to hurt you. And, but at the same time, doing crunches might help you, might feel a little bit easier for you to do. So it depends on what your body responds to, like how you feel doing a certain movement. There is no best abs exercise. There is no best legs exercise for anything, for building muscle or for burning fat. But what there is the best workout for you. All right, meaning your biomechanical range of motion accepts the movement. You're not in too much pain while you can do it, and you can do it consistently for a long period of time. I hope that one helped. If you do have problems, guys, if you do want to control the amount of fat that you have in your stomach area, shoot me a DM. I'll be more than glad to help you out. All right, my DMs are open for all you guys. That's it. That's all. We'll be back again. You know what time it is. Hope you guys and girls have the sickest day of your motherfucking life. We're out. Boom.